Okay. Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for joining us. This is the Turkish Diplomat podcast, and we are presenting you with some charming noise about some very bad films, and tonight's is a doozy. With me tonight, as always, my co-host, Calvin Roach.
I have a foot fetish, but only my own feet.
That's good to know.
I the bomb is right now.
Literally speechless for a goddamn thing until but it's true. I've seen Calvin lick his own feet before. So it was.
Yeah, I was having flashbacks. It was kind of scary. And of course, Paul Hogue, who always brings.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Paul always brings the witty repartee to the table. So,
tell us about your visit.
Say something funny, Paul.
Tell us about your visit. Scan this QR code to rate your experience. Did you love your visit? Your experience by leaving a review. See, Tom got tired of me just saying hello in a funny voice. So now I'm down to reading the Fazoli's rewards card.
I was going to say tonight's offering is a film called Star Odyssey from 1979 or 1980?
1979. Yes, 79.
Okay. And basically this is film 4 of a 3-part trilogy that is ripping off, I kid y'all not, ripping off Star Wars and anything else that may have been popular in America at that time. It's an Italian film, and it's...
Was it really part of the series? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's the 4th and 5th film in a series of other films that were playing off of Star Wars.
Like,
so if you're a Douglas Adams fan,
are great movies, and the 4th one, well, we called it the Star Odyssey. Because it lasts a goddamn long a time.
It sure seems like it. Oh my gosh! One of the things that I mean, maybe they were doing the out of sequence editing before Tarantino did it. I don't know, because there were a couple of times that something happened before you got any exposition of it happening.
Oh yeah. I only figured that out after a while, because there was definitely stuff I'm like, somebody screwed up in the editing on this. Because I mean, literally there's scenes where, like, if they had put that scene about 3 or 4 scenes back, I might have understood what the hell this was about.
Yes. Because, there's the alien guy with the scaled face, I guess, who bought the planet in one of the opening scenes, and he's like, I'm so glad I bought this planet. And then about 20 minutes in, it's not a flashback. They just show the buying of Earth in this big interplanetary auction.
Yeah,
and
scene 1 or 2 of the movie.
Yeah. And later on in the climactic battle, Lieutenant Oliver Hollywood something, he gets
hero.
His ship gets hit, and you see it explode. Then a little bit later, you see him still fighting, and then he gets hit again and explodes again.
It's just a tough ship.
Oh, and
It's made out of that antimadium or whatever the Ethereum.
Endurium. That sounds like something you take when you can't stop shitting.
I've had anti-entherium.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, get all over the place. Anyway, well, I tell you what. Now that we've seen the whole movie, can
yes.
you explain the basic storyline?
Oh, the plot.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's
The plot as we interpret it.
Yeah, yeah.
yes. Here's kind of what we understand. Some things happened in episodes 1 through 3, and now we're on 4, which is Star Odyssey. And this lizard-faced bad guy has bought the Earth and then bought the Earth again and decided that it will make great source for slaves, and it has a lot of resources. So he's coming to defeat its greatest heroes, lack of a better term, and start stealing people. And he starts out by stealing people in Rio de Janeiro and Tokyo and all this other stuff, all of course off camera. Meanwhile, back on Earth, our hero Hollywood and his ragtag group of saviors, which include a guy with a big brain and glowy eyes, a guy with a Spider-Man shirt and glowy eyes.
I tell you what, I love that shirt. I swear I've seen somebody wearing.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Because it wasn't just a Spider-Man shirt. Like I've seen someone in some TV show wearing that shirt.
Yes, I have too. Because when I saw it, I thought I've seen that. And didn't he look a lot like a skinny Vic Morrow?
Yeah, like Morrow's Italian cousin. Yeah.
Yeah. You what, Tom?
Remind me who Vic Morrow is.
He played in that television series Combat in the late '60s. When he was on the set of some horror.
Oh, it was a Twilight Zone movie.
Twilight Zone. He got killed by a helicopter blade trying to save some kids. You look him up. Yeah, the guy looks just like him. And there was a moment there I was like, is that Vic Morrow?
He's a big character actor. I mean, he had done Combat, but then after that, he was like in a string of Quinn Martin productions.
Yeah.
Usually as the bad guy or someone bad guy adjacent.
You know? Yeah. Anyway, but yeah.
See, I thought he looked like the guy from Simon and Simon.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, he did, didn't he?
If Vic Morrow,
and for those who don't know who Simon and Simon
is.
And out of all the men in this show, he's the only one with a normal looking mustache.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I hate to jump ahead, but
go ahead,
because I know we were just
is that ever
on the edge of getting the plot straight. I've been racking my brain, and I meant to try to look it up. So Hollywood has got this crazy ass mustache, the craziest of the crazy ass mustaches.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he stands and the way his hair is, the whole cut of his face. There was some show on. It was like a kids television show, and it had like this young girl who had pink hair, and there was a guy in a blue suit, and he looked exactly like Hollywood.
Huh.
Right down to the mustache. And
which at one point they actually did a close up of his mustache. Remember that? There was a shot when he was talking to Supreme Commander what's his face. They did a close up of his mustache, which I thought it was painted on at first. No, it was a real mustache that they had trimmed into that weird little pencil thin curly.
Well, it starts like at the nostrils and then comes down like an upside down bat.
Yeah.
Goes through the mustache pattern, comes back up, and you know, it's It's like if you were to make, if you're a kid and you made a fake mustache
Right.
and you put it on upside down, that's what it would look like.
It was like a snidely whiplash mustache.
Yeah. Which is what this guy in this show looked like. And it's driving me up the wall because it was like a popular show. And it's been on, I mean, it was like 20 years ago. I mean, it's been on, I think it was in the early 2000s. And a short girl with pink hair.
Yeah.
And then this dude in this blue suit, and he's really skinny, and he even held himself in that crazy way that Hollywood did, arms back and everything.
Yeah, when he came walking into his first scene with his arms held back and his back so freaking stiff, I thought maybe he had an accident on set and was wearing a medical corset, but no, he was walking like that.
Surprised his nickname wasn't, instead of Hollywood, it was like it's Oliver Scoliosis Wood.
Oliver stick up the ass or some shit. I mean, it was anyway.
And he always walked around with his arms akimbo. They were like always on, even sitting down, he was like
so
elbow out.
Man, it was even more.
Yeah, so the movie is an hour and 43 minutes long, which I glanced at it being tired, but I thought it was 2 hours and 43 minutes at first, and I was just lambasting Thomas for making us watch this thing for 3 hours, and he pointed out that I was a dumbass and fixed it. But the first hour of this show is them assembling this team in a Magnificent Seven kind of way, because the guy with the Vic Morrow face and the glowy eyes is a gambler who hypnotizes people and can see through cards. And he was tasked by Uncle Maury, who is like Earth's greatest genius. Is this old bald guy with the 1950s or 1930s high collar cape going on. So he has to assemble this team, and one is like this fighter who's super nimble and was actually the best over actor in the whole film, because whenever he walked or did anything, he jumped or flipped or tumbled into it, which started to just
man versus android world champion.
Yeah. He's a world champion, android versus man boxer.
Yeah.
But he did flips all the time, and which was kind of cracking me up. And they had these two annoying ass robots, one of which I think was voiced by the guy who was doing all the flips and tumbles.
Tilt and Tilly were the
Tilt and Tilly. I think Tilt was voiced by the fighter. I do. A couple of times I thought his overdub is the same.
Like if you were to take Jar Jar Binks and turn him into a couple, really could not.
Yeah,
detail
because they'd had a suicide pact, and the robots had a suicide pact, but Tumble Guy saved them in a junkyard, and they spent a lot of time talking and bickering about why did we want to kill ourselves in the first place. We later find out it's because they don't have the parts to go all the way. Which is, I mean, that was one of the okay. We're jumping way ahead here, but that's one of the ending scenes, because they saved the Earth. The heroes are all gone doing their thing, and Uncle Maury is sitting in his office or whatever, his laboratory, and Tilt and Tilly reveal why they actually had the suicide pact, and it wasn't because, and this is the quote, she couldn't prove her love to him because they didn't have the parts. And Uncle Maury has been sitting over there lasciviously listening to these robots, and he goes, a few minor adjustments, and she can prove her love to you.
Yeah, this is not the most woke film we've seen, gentlemen.
No.
I mean,
but Robot Love.
Robot Love. Wasn't it a song by America?
Well, there was also during the slave buy, because before they sold Earth, in the same slave, they were looking at another planet.
Yeah.
And so apparently the guy with the funky looking scale face, he's the bad
The
guy. By
bad
the
guy,
way,
yeah.
he left out something. The aliens attack Earth and destroy all the defensive bases in one shot.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why they've got to put together this ragtag unit, because
Yeah.
the aliens are going to enslave all of the humans. And so you got this crusty face guy, and then there's some other freaky looking face guy. And then, and the crusty face guy, he's kind of like Pinhead, but they forgot to put the pins in.
Yeah. I guess they were trying to make him look like a reptilian scale face.
Like crosshead face.
Like he'd run into a tennis racket.
Yeah. What was his name? What was the character's name? Like Kroll or something like that?
I didn't write any of this down because I wasn't at home watching this.
They referred to him
Cress.
twice, but
Cress.
Cress.
Yeah, right. Cress. Yeah. Cress.
Cress.
Yeah.
And but anyway, right before they had that, they're looking at video from another planet, and they have all these like robots, I guess, or these androids. They finally determined they're androids. And they're all basically these Edgar Winter clones.
Yes,
yeah.
The silver jumpsuit, the blonde Pageway haircut. My first thought was like, what are these guys trying out to be the guitarist for Sweet? Is that?
I was waiting for the song Frankenstein to start up. But anyway, they're on this planet, and they're moving around the slaves, and the slaves on this planet that is not Earth, that does not have humans, because apparently humans make the best slaves, they said later.
Yeah.
And that's why it was a big deal to buy Earth. But they called the slaves there are all black.
Yes.
Like the only black people in the movie, and they called them, this is in the movie, the dark units.
That's true.
They said, oh, it's populated by quite a few dark units, but let's go buy something on Earth now. It's like,
I mean, this movie, I don't know. It's so bad. I mean, okay, a little background. We once watched this movie so drunk it was brand new to us this time.
I have not one memory of the movie.
I remember the sword fight.
I remember us being together and joking and having a good time, and we were at your house.
Yeah.
Tom, do you remember any scenes from that movie? Did you remember?
I remember most of it, actually.
Really?
Because my brain absorbs useless information. Now, it has to be my social. I have to look it up. But I could go probably every line in this movie.
Oh my God!
My brain absorbed alcohol, and all I remember was a line of my transistors. All I remembered from this movie previously was the plastic glowing sword fight, which was obviously them. Oh look, this movie called Star Wars has glowing swords. Maybe we'll have glowing swords and no one will notice, kind of a thing. And they were plastic, lighted up swords you could buy at a dime store.
I love the noise that they made when they clashed. Bing.
But yeah, because even bad, weird edit jumps aside, this movie was just so all over the place. When they go to free these two super scientists from a prison, where apparently they're kept in suspended animation instead of cells, somehow one of the guards has the hots for the woman in scientist, and he'll let her out of her and a suspended animation in exchange for favors. And she tricks him. They start making out, and she releases her buddy. How they hadn't done this before, I don't know, but apparently somehow they let's just escape this prison. Oh, what a coincidence! They're looking for us to join their band. And there's this stupid fight with all the other prisoners, all wearing zodiac signs on their body tight T-shirts.
Yeah.
They just run away. They just, they get out because apparently the Vic Morrow guy has hypnotic powers like Uncle Maury does, and that's his name is Uncle Maury.
He calls them because Professor Maury calls them his Dirk's special powers.
Yeah.
Your special powers.
Zip thud. But at one point, okay, we're just jumping all over the place because this is what the movie does. When the aliens approach Earth, Crest, the evil bad guy, well, I guess all bad guys are evil, detects Uncle Maury's powerful mind, unlike the rest of the humans. They don't say jack shit about the other guy's mental powers, and the guy who can see through cards and hypnotize prison guards and stuff, Vic Morrow from space. They don't say a thing about his brain. But
it's not that great.
But Uncle Maury and this alien guy are in constant mental battle with each other. And I've never seen anybody whose skull skin was so malleable, because every time Uncle Maury and this guy were in contact, Uncle Maury was rubbing and squeezing his head into like these huge wrinkles and folds. I'm like, is his brain on the outside?
He looked like a Shar-Pei dog.
That's it. That is it. That's exactly
I think
it.
Ennio Balbo, who played Professor Maury, because I'm looking it up here, I think he must have been like 500, 600 pounds at one point, lost all the weight, and then he had all this leftover skin. So pinch it back with bread ties and stuff like that.
So, okay, in the first 100 minutes, they're trying to rescue these guys to form their magnificent whatever number it was, to manufacture anti-endurium, which they'll paint their ships with to fight the bad guys, because their ships are covered in endurium or something. And Oliver Hollywood, Lieutenant Oliver Hollywood, whatever his last name was, the guy with the mustache, is in love with the professor's niece, Irene, who
rocks a mean moo-moo.
Who rocks a? Miss Roper had nothing on this girl, as far as that goes. But she had like the 1979 soccer mom, church mom hairdo.
Yes,
which I thought was like, okay, that's so very unattractive. But apparently, not mustache guy, that was Hollywood. That was her boyfriend. They were in love. Professor Maury. Sean, that was the Vic Morrow guy's name. Sean and Irene had been in love once before, and he kept trying to worm his way back into her affections. And Uncle Maury was pushing for them to get back together all the time, it seemed like. So
our boy Hollywood couldn't win.
And so, all the time, Sean is talking to her about getting back together, how much he misses her. Oh, look at the moon. We used to look at the moon together like this. But she's in love with Hollywood, who I don't care if this is a spoiler or not, kids. He dies. He dies.
Oh, and shutting down the podcast.
He dies in the climactic battle to save Earth. And when our heroes come back, Sean, the other, the guy that Uncle Maury likes, gets off the elevator, doesn't say jack shit about I'm so sorry about Hollywood. They just start making out and smiling like this was planned the whole time, Yeah. Like nothing had ever happened before. They were just having each other and started smooching on camera.
We've watched several of these Italian productions here lately, and there's a couple of themes. One is that death is just not that big a deal. Because they lose people close to them all the time, and they never mourn them. Hell, they sometimes don't even acknowledge that they're having to step over the corpse at times. And the other thing is, sex will fix everything.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, sure. But I mean, in this thing, what would have fixed everything is robots learning that robot sugar.
Good God. Okay, jumping ahead. Here's the finale of the movie, and we can go back and forth here. I don't care. I don't even care anymore about following the sequence of events. Chris, the guy who bought the Earth, is back at the huge interplanetary auction site selling Earth because he doesn't want anything to do with the 10 billion humans living on Earth because they defeated him. So his fiercest competitor is this guy whose skin is covered in varicose veins all over his head. Buys Earth for 300 million credits, and then the camera swings over to Chris, who accepts the offer, and there's Bridget. No, look, I've been calling the other guy Sean. Bridget and Sean were the two super scientists, super geniuses. They had arranged to help him sell Earth and its 10 billion people to the other guy for 50%. So these two geniuses who helped defeat Chris are now working with him to sell Earth and split the profits, and that included the slaves.
So what a double cross of galactic proportions.
I guess that's supposed to be setting up the next movie then.
God, I hope it never happens.
I was a little confused as to why, because that scene honestly sort of looked tacked on. Because honestly, once robots learn to fuck, why do you need anything else?
I'm saying.
Yeah, you don't really need anything more.
Literally, the quote I have at the end of my notes: "In the end, the robots will learn to fuck."
Tilt is gonna get so much robot love.
He is gonna tilt.
Robot, let's grant love, whatever.
He's gonna get
yeah. Oh, we got 7 minutes remaining. I would not recommend this movie to somebody even on a suicide watch. I mean, if they were planning to kill themselves, just don't even bother watching this as your last movie. Just get it over with because you'll hate yourself even more after you watch it.
I would say don't even bother. We have just gone over all the highlights. There's nothing more to see here, really.
Yeah. I gotta say, I give this a nominal or a just over the line recommendation. The group, because I mean, first of all, Hollywood. Oh my God, Hollywood's amazing. You can't help but be entertained by this, or at least amused. In the same way that you look at a car wreck. Granted, but I mean, because I can never figure out what Hollywood's deal is. I like the guy who beats the robot and then does all the crazy jumps. The camera literally lingers on him for a moment to see just what he's going to do next.
It's pretty clear he's improvising all this athletic stuff.
Yeah. He's like the girl, that other movie we saw where the girl was just hamming it up the entire time.
Yeah.
I was thinking, well, hell, that's the movie tie-ins you guys need to make. Both of them in a movie, So I'd give it. Oh, and there's just great quotes. Like they destroy all these bases. Hundreds of people or thousands of people have just been killed, and Hollywood walks into that room and goes, well, hey, what's going on, everyone? And he yells, quiet.
Literally so clueless.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was like, what do you say, Paul?
Says, quiet, Hollywood. And I love that quote. The other
There were 2 or 3. I wish I had my notebook with me when I watched this, because there were 3 or 4 quotes that would have been hilarious to just shout out at random while drinking.
did you notice how the one guy kept saying, because the words UFO kept coming up?
UFO.
UFO.
UFO. Which I noticed that one time watching some 70s British television series. They would call them UFOs.
Really?
Yeah. Well, no, it was a television series set in 1985.
It was called UFO.
It was called UFO.
Yeah, I remember.
And they would call them UFOs in that.
It was like a British. It was sort of like the Space 1990. It's like Space 1999 with even less budget.
Yeah. Well, it was it was by the same people, I think. Honestly, I think it was by the same people. Colonel Straker was the lead of the guy. He was the handsome Hollywood actor / secret base commander. We could do a whole series. We could do not a series. We could actually kind of do a take on that series, because it was so terrible. But anyway, I digress.
So overall, I think this film here would be great for a group watch with a lot of alcohol and drugs involved.
Yes.
I'm condoning that. But...
No, I'm condoning it. I'm condoning it.
It's definitely not it's a difficult solo watch.
It is. It's the kind of thing you want to watch with friends who like horrible movies. So I will recommend it for that. And like Tom said, alcohol and drugs are optional for this, but I would, a bottle of cheap tequila and just a bowl full of random pills you could eat at, like M&Ms. Just reach in and grab a bowl of random pills and alcohol. Watch this movie.
Or Mad Dog 2020.
Yeah. Oh yeah, grapefruit Mad Dog.
Grapefruit Mad Dog.
You want to match the right wine. It's got to be from, a good week. But other than that,
oh my gosh!
Talking Boone's Farm. Yeah, this is a Boone's Farm movie, if nothing else.
Oh my gosh!
That's the name of the show, Boone's Farm Movies. Mess with the cheapest wine you can find.
I
think we found our next season.
we could also, I bet you, if Boone's Farm is still around, they sponsor us.
Oh my God, that would be so funny. And, this episode sponsored by Ripple. Oh God.
Now I gotta jump back into the movie for just a quick moment. Now that the lieutenant or second in command, whatever, I don't know what his rank was, but unibrow.
Yeah.
With the big forehead, the unibrow, and the kind of scrunched up face, who was always right there by the commander, who knew everything that was going on.
Right, yeah.
I think he was probably my favorite character in the entire film.
Really?
Because he just seemed so lost about everything. It's like, the commander would say something, and he would spin with authority and go, blah, 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 blah. And Hollywood would go, what?
They just had too many interesting characters in this movie in every scene. Like they're just trying to shoehorn, okay, we got to have robots, and they got to say pithy things like, because Tilt's always saying like, oh, you're the light of my transistors, and you're, all right,
well,
we're about out of time, guys.
We pretty much hit the end of this. So everybody who is listening, thank you again for tuning in. I will have this one out at all the favorite places that you love to listen to. This is technically our.
I think Tom was about to say something important, but we'll never know. Join us next time for another episode of the Turkish Diplomats present Charming Noise.